Hi everyone, welcome to Stencil Saturday. Recently I have been working on redoing all the samples from my Modern Simplicity book. If you are familiar with that book, then you've probably seen the designs. If not, they're kind of designs like this. They're like a little more organic. You just kind of, if you've taken the class from me, I tell you to make them all different random sizes and widths and all of that. And I think that I love them so much because they're truly purposely random, so there's no comparison. You really can't mess them up. But I do also know that in all the times that I've taught that class, I always have people who, sometimes it's just not easy. When someone says, just make them all different, that's kind of hard. Sometimes we need to have some guidelines or just something to aid us in keeping things a little more organized, I guess. So as I'm working through redoing these samples, it kind of struck me that, I have all these stencils now that maybe I can put these stencils to use somehow in conjunction to make them maybe easier or different. So that's what we're going to do, I think, for the next couple of videos, is kind of apply these random hand-guided organic designs somehow to stencils. So for this particular one, I am going to do like the one I showed you, like these little arches. And what we're going to do is we're going to pretend this is a border. I'm going to stitch across, it's going to be a border, the top and the bottom, a wide one. And what we're going to do with those little arches. But instead of me just starting and randomly, like, oh, put a wide one and a narrow one just off the top of my head, which I don't generally have a problem with. But, for some people, you like to just have a little more structure to it. So I thought, why not just stitch? And you can see I've marked my Lines and Grids Stencil, right? So it gives us at least some, lines to reference and how we space them. So I am going to randomly do them, but now I'm going to be able to follow some lines. They're still going to be curved, not using a ruler, because I think the beauty of these designs is that they're not totally perfect. It would just be a whole different look if they were perfectly stitched with a ruler. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to stitch some on this side. And then we're going to come back across the top and stitch some coming from the top down in. So I also, not only do I want to vary the width of each of these arches, I want to vary the height. But you'll see what I mean when I start to stitch. I'm going to just kind of use these as a guide, and I also have these dots that I can use as a guide as well, as far as how high I'm taking them up. So I'm just going to start, I don't know, this one will be kind of like a medium-sized one. So see, I know I can come down right here because there's a line. It kind of gives me a little more guidance. And I'm going to echo in here. Maybe I put one more narrow echo in here. Scoot over. And I think I'm going to make this next one a little bit shorter, maybe a little wider. So while there's still freehand, I do have a little more structure because I have some lines to use to get these different echoes. Make this one taller. Couple echoes. And you don't even need to do the same amount of echoes on every one. I mean, I think that kind of makes them neat when they're all different. And then this last one, maybe it'll be a kind of medium size, more narrow one. And since I did put 3, I'll go ahead and do 3 in all of these. I'm just going to scoot up to the top here. So one other tip on a design like this one, you notice we stitched across the bottom first. And I always like to start at the bottom first, because now as we go back across the top here and do the same thing going this direction, I can now clearly see where I'm going to reach the ones that I previously stitched. If you do the top first and then come back and do the bottom, sometimes it's hard because your hopping foot and, you know, this part of the machine is now blocking what you're trying to go up to and meet. I hope that makes sense. So now we're just going to do the same thing. And I am not necessarily needing them to touch in the center. I mean, if they do, that's okay too, but it really does not matter. 3 echoes. Now this one down here. And we still have those same lines to use to kind of keep them on track here. I guess the lines act a little more like a security blanket. You don't need to feel like you're on the fly coming up with the spacing. One last one. And a little narrow line. I should go ahead and kind of establish the edge of this border, I suppose. Down here and do the same on the bottom. Of course, if it were an actual quilt, we would have had a pieced seam there to... Okay, so let me go ahead and get rid of the chalk here. Okay, I got rid of most of the lines. I don't know where I put my little scrubby brush to get rid of the chalk, but I got most of it off. So now you can see, let me try turning this light off because I have a feeling, yeah, we'll be able to see it much better that way. I mean, and look, I mean, it goes so fast, and it really was, you know, I'm okay to do it without any markings or guides. But if you're not, and I have to admit, it really was kind of nice to just follow, you know, I had the lines to see, did I have to stay right on them? Heck no. But they were there, and they made it just kind of that much quicker, I suppose. You know, and I think that, you know, went quick. The texture's really awesome. And it's really fun to stitch. So I hope you guys like that, and I'll see you next time. Bye.